Hi, I'm Annie with Forest of Art and Healing Arts, and in this video I'm going to show you some stretches designed specifically to stretch out your hips, and in particular we want to try to decompress the fascia around your lymph nodes in the inguinal area and also the abdominal pelvic lymph nodes. The work in this video can be done in combination with the work from another video that we show on opening up the front of hip with yoga tune-up balls. Now, though the inguinal lymph nodes are in the front, when we think about stretching the fascia around those lymph nodes, we have to think about decompressing the hip joint in all four angles. So the front, the side, the back, and the inside of the hip joint. Now, everyone knows how to stretch out their hamstrings, so I'm not going to show those to you, but you will do those on your own. And most people know how to do a basic front to thigh quadriceps stretch. But what I am going to show you in this video is I'm going to show you outer thigh and outer hip stretches, two. One for more in the hip joint and then one farther up, higher up on the hip. And then I'm going to show you a deep inguinal front of pelvis stretch. It's also going to get deeply into the quadriceps. And then I'm going to end with opening up, stretching up the inner thighs. Okay, so the first stretch is outer thighs and hips. I call this diamond because that's what it looks like to me. I'm not sure if that's the official, unofficial name for it. And so what you're going to do is you're not going to come into butterfly or Baddha Konasana. You're going to make it really long here. So you're changing the angle of your hips in the joint. And then where you can, you're going to bend forward. Now I like to give my torso a little break in this. And when I say that, I like to lean either my hands or my elbows on my legs. And if that's intense and an intense stretch for me, that's where I'm going to do it. You could also put a block here for your head if you want to come down, or you could give yourself, a bolster to hang over. However, it feels nice for you. It's a little, you want to do this a little bit like a yin practice, so that you want to be able to completely let go of the hip joint. Because if the groin doesn't feel secure in the position, it will grip. So you want your hip and the deep hip muscles and your groin muscles to be able to completely let go in this posture. All right. So you may feel a deep low back stretch. You may feel your sacrum widen out towards the sides in this direction. You may feel a deep stretch in your external rotators in the hips here. You may feel around the outside of your knees. All of that is really good. And just hang out here and breathe. You can pause the video if you want to take 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds in this pose. This next stretch is to address the very top of the outer hip, but you're also going to stretch a deep lumbar muscle called the Quadratus Lumborum. So you're going to come onto your side, straighten the bottom leg on the floor, and you want the side of your hip to contact the floor. Then to stabilize, bring the top foot over, bend the knee. Now, some of you may only be able to be on your elbow here, which is fine. Just stay here and breathe into this area. You should feel the bottom side waist stretch, but also the very top of the outer hip stretch out. You may also feel a little bit of opening and stretch in the front. If that's not deep enough, you can take it up a notch onto the palm. It's an intense amount of pressure on the wrist, so you've just got to navigate how much weight you can put on that wrist. So you're going to keep that bottom leg straight. One thing you can do is lift your hip off of the floor just a little bit. Can you see that my hip is off the floor a little bit here? And then I'm going to slowly descend my hip towards the floor. And as I do that, I'm feeling a deep stretch on that outer thigh, outer hip, and into my Quadratus Lumborum, but also into my oblique muscles. So really where the trunk and the pelvis meet, I'm getting a really nice elongation there. And then switch that. And now for the other side. So straighten that bottom leg, make sure the knee is straight. You can come down on your elbow. Top leg comes over. So you want to make sure that you roll onto this very side of that hip. Now, if that's enough for you, stay here and you'll lift up off that hip and then descend it down. If you can go deeper, come up on that top, come up on your hand, lift your hip, and slowly descend your hip down towards the floor. And you're gonna feel your iliacus opening up, the inguinal ligament a little bit. You're gonna feel your obliques, transverse abdominis, and maybe a little bit of Quadratus Lumborum. Maybe even a little bit of the glute medius and minimus. So this next stretch is going to address the front of the hip, the front of the inguinal area. And it's going to be a modified lunge, but using a brick. I like to use the softer, spongier brick for the extended leg. And so this is what I mean by that. So you're going to come into a lunge here, and the brick comes to the quadricep just on top, just above the kneecap. So you've got to place it where it feels comfortable for you. And then allow your pelvis, your hip, to descend down towards the floor. And breathe into that opening. And like I described earlier, you can pause the video here and hold this for 30, 40, 60 seconds if you like. And then we'll do the other side. So, place the block in the general location here. So I'm not placing my kneecap on the brick. I'm placing just the bottom of my quadricep, right where the quadricep kind of attaches into the patella area. It's a really nice fascial massage for that attachment there. And keeping that back leg straight, I'm going to allow my pelvis to descend down against that restriction. And breathe, softening into the front of the pelvis. And at home, you're going to pause the video and breathe into this for 30 to 60 seconds. So this last one is going to be for inner thighs and groin, and this is called legs up the wall. And so the most difficult part about this is to get close enough to the wall so there's no space in between your hips or your butt and the wall. So I'll show you my trick and you got to see if it works for you. So the way you want to do it is you want to sit right up against the wall here. And then you roll onto your back and slide yourself around. So my sit bones are touching the wall here. And if you slide away from the wall a little bit, you can caterpillar your body like this, back towards the wall. Now you're going to hang out here for a little bit and just allow your legs to invert. This is also very good for the lymph system, to reverse the gravitational pull. Now for the inner thigh part of the stretch, you're going to allow gravity to bring your legs out towards the side. And now you want to find where your limitation is in your hips and in your inner thighs. So you may come here and that may be really intense for you. And so you stretch here and just let everything go and let everything soften here. Or you may find, oh no, I can go a little bit further. So maybe this is where you are. But you have to find where your mobility in this area is for you. I've got a little bit more range of motion from all of my dance training as a child. And so mine's a little bit farther out here. Now, you're not going to push your legs to get out here. The goal is not to be down on the floor. The goal is to get mobility and stretch in your inner thighs. So that's going to happen wherever your tissue is. So you want to find where that stretch feels good for you, where that stretch is for you, and simply be there. There's no goal about trying to get it on the floor or trying to be as wide as someone else. And this is one of those stretches where you're just gonna let gravity increase the stretch and just let your legs hang out to the side. Relax your shoulders, relax your arms, relax your inner thighs. Allow your lower back to lengthen into the floor and just let go. I can see the whole team has come in. And so you can hang out here for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. You'll notice that as you are in this position, your legs will naturally fall out a little bit more because the gravity has increased the pull on the inner thighs, and the inner thigh muscles are just letting go. So you're getting a lot more stretch in the groin, opening up the inguinal lymph nodes that are on the medial side of your thighs. And just let everything go. And see if you can notice fluid drawing back in this direction, into this area here. And just allow that to drain. You can increase the breath and let that deep lymphatic flow go up the deep lymph chain and back to the heart. Again, if you want to pause the video here, you can to hold on to this stretch a little bit longer. But for now, I'm going to close up and I'll show you how to come out of it. So if you've been holding this for a while, you want to give your legs a little bit of a hand with your arms here and stretch your hips out so you can put your feet against the wall. This is also another nice pelvic floor stretch. And then when you're ready, bring your knees together and roll onto your side. All right, so those are some hip and groin stretches to decompress these joints and for the inguinal and abdominal pelvic lymph node health.